Spencer might be able to enlighten us a bit more on this one, because this has collapsed. We were looking, and it's sad to say, it's another now, Simon, in a fairly lengthy sequences of fights that will not seemingly be happening. The Dan Aziz-Boatsy thing we know about. There's an injury to Dan Aziz. He's just spoken honestly and openly about that. I can't fight. I've been advised not to fight, but I will fight. But as for Anthony Joshua taking on Deontay Wilder, it ain't happening. Eddie Hearn telling us we were offered a deal. We accepted, but it fell through. It's not my fault. Now that some of the alternatives may not be anywhere near the last number. So that makes us reconsider our options. The bottom line is, Spencer, the boxing fraternity disappointed again. Yep. The fans disappointed again that a big fight, and notably from the heavyweight division, has fallen through.
Yep, I think it was all down to skills challenge and the money that was being offered out in Saudi Arabia, the big money that was on the table. That went away. That collapsed for whatever reason. I don't know the ins and outs of why that money wasn't available. But the fight fell through. That left Anthony Joshua looking for a new opponent. And that's where we still stand. We've heard no more from that. You know, he was looking to get out again in December. And obviously with the news breaking that Tyson Fury is now going to box Alexander Usyk, etc., puts Anthony Joshua in a position where he needs to fight someone of some sort of value. And Deontay Wilder obviously would fit that bill, and it doesn't look like he was going to get it. Eddie Hearn actually was mentioning that he was still trying to make that fight, even though it didn't happen in Saudi Arabia. He was hoping to get it on in a stadium over here, maybe the Millennium Stadium, early part of next year, January, February sort of time, but I've not heard any more from that.
Well, I mean, he can make the fight anytime he wants if he's prepared to put the money up, but he wants other people to put the money up. In the instance of this particular fight, the reasons why he can't make it, I would assume, is that he hasn't been able to deliver the Middle Eastern money that he thought he could do. And so here we sit now with Anthony Joshua's career in abeyance. Now, you can still make a massive fight in this country. If you bring Wilder over here to fight Anthony Joshua, you will fill Wembley. If Wembley's available, you'll get 95,000 fans in it. You'll get broadcasters wanting to pay for this deal. But the fighters won't be able to get perhaps the same scale of money that you'd get in the Middle East because of the facility fees that they're prepared to pay and the inflated premiums. But then you've got to look at where is Anthony going next. There was real jeopardy for Anthony Joshua that Tyson Fury winning this fight against Alexander Usyk, which I think he will do, will sell off into the sunset, giving Anthony Joshua no opportunity for any legacy of his own, besides his body of work that he's done previously, and no helping hand to be able to get him back on his feet, because why would Fury do that?
I mean, there's talk, Simon, of Joshua, to maybe Eddie Hearn's referring to maybe Hrgovic, Otto Wallen.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is where we're at. If
that would just disappoint.
You know, if those titles, if they do have that undisputed fight,
it's a clever move, because if he fights Hrgovic, if they have to vacate the belts and Hrgovic gets the IBF belt from an eliminator with Wallen, and Joshua goes and gets it, he's back at the table as a world champion.
Yeah, but he has to box. So Filip Hrgovic obviously is the IBF #1 challenger, and Otto Wallen is in now in #2, and Anthony Joshua in at #3.
But if they vacate,
yeah. But what I'm saying is, so if the IBF title becomes vacant and Hrgovic boxes Otto Wallen, then Anthony Joshua. So how long does he wait? That's the point.
Well, this is, but by definition, if you've got Fury fighting Usyk in February next year, because by the definition, Frank is turning around and saying that Riyadh Festival finishes at the beginning of March. We're going to have it out before then, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we say it's February.
Yeah.
So Joshua fights the winner of Hrgovic Wallen, because at that point they're going to have to vacate the IBF belt, aren't they?
That's right.
So then the belt becomes the fight. The unification happens. The IBF belt automatically gets vacated there and afterwards.
So you're talking about probably March time, and the IBF belt is vacant.
But interestingly, on my religious pursuit of my agenda against Eddie Hearn, he was the one with the big mouth about the Deontay Wilder deal. He was the one that said they can get these deals done. Yeah, he seems to be more mindful of other people's business about what they're doing. Whatever Frank Warren is or isn't, and I do not like this spectacle next week. I do not want to see it. I don't care how many times Frank sends me a picture of the millions and millions of views that they're getting on social media and the amount of bus backs that are promoting this fight and how the Riyadh Festival is celebrating it. He has signed the Fury Usyk fight. So when we talk about what's happening in the world stage, the biggest division in boxing is the heavyweight division. Everything falls off it. Frank Warren must now be top of the tree.
Yeah,
on
it's
that
signed,
basis,
but that doesn't mean it's going to happen. We've got no date.
Well, there's a damn sight more chance of something happening if it's signed.
Do you know what? I see more and more, and I'm going to read one out. KSI Tommy Fury took an absolute lashing, and in the eyes of many, deserved it. There's one. All these boxing fights getting cancelled, and people laugh at misfits boxing. No wonder they watch the likes of KSI and the rest. instead of real boxing, because the misfits boxers do what they say they'll do.
But that's not
They
true.
get in the ring and they fight.
Yeah, but there's a phenomenal amount of money on the line when they're getting in. They're using boxing as the umbrella. If you look at that as an event,
That's not
as an
wrong,
event,
Spencer.
But it is wrong. Because
How is it wrong?
Well, I'll tell you why it's wrong. Because the only division you can lay that claim at is the heavyweight division. KSI is not fighting in a heavyweight division in YouTube boxing or whatever boxing is. All the other fights are getting made around the world. The middleweights are fighting, the welterweights are fighting, the featherweights are fighting. It's one division, and I problem challenge for us all is it's the division that everyone focuses on.
Yeah, exactly.
But there are plenty of good fights being made. It's just those with the big mouths in the heavyweight division aren't doing it.
yeah.
The
So
fights
in
we
fairness-
want to see. Of
fights-
course, Simon's right. You imagine Wilder over here against Joshua.
Phenomenal.
Listen, I truly believe that if we do get the Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk fight over the line, it is signed, and we do get that, and that fight does happen. It puts all the other heavyweights in a position where they have to start fighting each other. And there will be, no excuses about warm-up fights, waiting for certain individuals to take the titles will become fragmented, and all the other fighters will have to fight.
But it's interesting because Eddie's talking about the idea that Deontay Wilder's got his own problems. Yeah, we sat in a studio with Malik Scott, who talked about that they want this fight, they're ready to go. Of course, they want the economics that go with it. Unfortunately, like we've always said, with the Middle Eastern money comes a sting in the tail. If you don't get it, you think you're underpaid. So that means that you the luxury of making fights anywhere else that would still produce a king's ransom. Let's be honest. Frank Warren put on the Dillian White Tyson Fury fight at Wembley, and it was a 28 million purse bid, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, will Joshua and Wilder fight for 28 million quid? Probably not. Should they? Because whoever wins that fight, boom, it's
Absolutely.
on for
You're
a
right,
real.
they probably should.
We're talking about
They
legacies.
probably
We're
should.
talking about legacies, and that's where we're at right
But
now.
we're talking about finances as well.
So, I mean, Hearn says about his fighter, Joshua, in the same breath, Hergovich, Wallen, these kind of guys are around. Is Joshua Spencer heading into the boxing wilderness?
He needs a big fight. Absolutely. There's no getting away from that. He needs a fight of some sort of magnitude. Like, he needs a big fight. He can't, I get Jermaine Franklin's, and I understand that, and about the warm-ups and getting back, regaining that confidence, but he's now in a position where he has to have a fight of some sort of
Would you
meaning.
stick him in against Zhang?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Simon, there's
Tomorrow.
Lee from Plymouth. Here, guys, I'd watch AJ against Shang.
Tomorrow.
Just said
Why
it.
don't they get that made?
That's an obvious fight. It's a huge fight, I think with Eddie and his connections over in the Middle East and in China. Why not? Let's get that fight on. I think it's a fight that Zhang would love to have as well. They've got history. They've boxed in the Olympics.
Yeah. Would it be dangerous for AJ?
Absolutely. So they're all dangerous. I think what we've seen of Zhang and the way that he dealt with Joyce 2 times, I think he's a danger for any heavyweight. Absolutely.
Okay. In fact, many now latching onto that. Lee from Plymouth, you started it. Well, actually, Simon mentioned it first. I'd watch AJ against Zhang. How easy or otherwise would it be to make that fight?
I think that Zhang would take that in a heartbeat, obviously, and I think that from Anthony Joshua's side, I think that it's a fight that he would like as well. It's a fight that he would welcome, and it sells.
There you go. There's one. We put it out there. AJ Zhang. All right, the promoters listening to this lunchtime, and you do. We know you do. Get it done.